All right, here we go. Welcome everybody in this morning. We get started again. Studying through Genesis. We're at Genesis 6:13 is where we're at this morning. We continue on. And it came to pass. I swear that thing looks crooked. It's going to make everybody dizzy if I keep it swapping around. I think that's even worse. Sorry about that, folks. Anyway, welcome everybody in. Genesis 6:13. It's just going to have to be where it's at. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. So God's not going to keep putting up with everybody all the time. He has his limits of what he'll tolerate out of people. It says, make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. So what's a cubit? It's a foot and a half, basically. 18 inches. And a window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above the door of the ark. Thou shalt set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. So you're going to make a 3-story boat. That's a good assignment, right? And he didn't what is it? God don't set you to do something that he don't give you the wherewithal and the wherewithal to do it. So that's what a lot of people keep missing these days. Like, God called me to do it and I had no clue. Well, yeah, he would have given you the clue if he actually called you to do it. A lot of people calling themselves to do things that God ain't never called them to do these days. Promise you. It's always been that way. And behold, even I do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. So it doesn't sound like there's going to be a very nice thing going on here. Everything is going to drown. God's going to clean it all out and start over. Yes. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. And every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Of the fowls after its kind, of the cattle after their kind, and of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort, watch this, shall come unto thee to keep them alive. They all going to come to you. It didn't say, now, Noah, get out there and get rid of everything. No, God makes the way. He prepared everything. He picked out the ones. He said, y'all go to Noah. So as it is time for us to be dealing with something, God's going to make them come to us. Either that or he's going to make it clear that we need to go to them. God makes a way. For those that are seeking him, he makes a way. It says, now watch this in verse 21. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, that thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah according to all that God commanded him to do. Commanded him, so did he. So that's where I think a lot of people fall short. Sometimes God's given us an inkling and given us an utterance to do something, and we do half of it and go, see, God, how good I done? Don't I deserve rewards and accolades, and shouldn't I be famous? Well, you done about half of what you were supposed to, instead of all that God told you to do. And the Lord said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen, righteous before me in this generation. Now, verse 2 is something other that I want people to pay close attention to, okay? And there's a reason for this. Of every clean beast, now wait a minute. The law didn't come along for a long time, did it? It didn't come till Moses, a long time later. But the law of the things to eat, God was already giving people to know what was good for you and what wasn't good for you. And why was this? Because he knew, he wanted us to know which things would be healthy and which things would kill you. Because especially back then, you didn't have all the wormers and stuff. So if you eat pig meat and got trichinosis or something, you was through. If you got a big case of worms, it could be really bad on you. So he already knew, he'd already put in people's heart and told them what was clean and what was unclean. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and the beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. Of the fowls of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of the earth. So take plenty to eat and plenty to keep it growing. So, and setting up dietary laws, basically. Okay? So I wanted to go through that. I guess I skipped ahead to that because I was so excited to get to that part on 7. Now let's go to 2 Peter chapter 2. Because I got ahead of myself and wasn't reading my notes. See what trouble you can get in whenever you're not paying attention. 2 Peter chapter 2, starting at verse 4. Because we was talking about God putting them on the ark, right? And putting all the critters on the ark. Every living thing. Now, verse 4 says, For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, that's, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after should live ungodly, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. Just Lot. See, there that is, telling us that even though he was living in the sinful area, he was still knew God and he knew how to act, whether he was acting right or not. He vexed his soul. For that righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. I didn't say he was involved in it, but he was living right there with it. He was seeing it every day. He was living with it. Because the Lord, let's look at verse 9 real good, because this is thinking about Noah and his crew and thinking about other things that are still to come probably. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations. He knows how to deliver us. And to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. That's pretty strong right there. We need to understand that God knows how to bring us out. And he knows how to take us from death unto life. He knows how to save us if we have that willing spirit to listen to him. Now, let's go back to Genesis where I was at, where I had jumped through. Sorry about that, but it happens sometimes. Get a little excited about this stuff. Genesis chapter 7. And we had picked up at 1, and let's see how far we had gotten. Oh, we had gotten through verse 4. After he had put up the fowls of the air in verse 3 by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of the earth. And 4 says, For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. Every living substance. That sounds like plants and everything, doesn't it? Everything's going to be dead to get to start over. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him in the ark, because of the waters of the flood. Of the clean beast, and of the beasts that are not clean, of the fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth, there went into two and two unto Noah, and in the ark the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. I was just thinking about that. For that 7 days, sat there with watching everything come into the ark. God had told all of these beasts of the field and everything else, that the 2 by 2 and the 7s that he had sent, y'all go on up in there. And could you imagine sitting there on the ramp of that ark, watching all of the creatures go in there getting ready to go? That would have to be kind of an amazing thing. He didn't have to do like Marlon Perkins and Jim and go out there and net them and drag them in. So, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month and the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of the sons with them in the ark. And they and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird, and every sort. After his kind. That was way before a lot of the Greek scientists thought that spontaneous life and bugs and stuff. He knew that everything comes after its kind. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. They went in unto Noah. That still just boggles the mind. God touched all these animals and told them it's time to go. And you know what, as I was thinking about that, if we'll look at it, nature and animals, they listen to God a whole lot better than we do sometimes. Have you ever heard, why are the birds out there just singing and having themselves a good day? They hadn't got air conditioning, they hadn't got umbrellas or anything, but they're just out there singing and praising God. Maybe we should take note sometimes. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. So who closed that big ramp? God did. That would have been a very awesome thing to see as well, wouldn't it?
Probably pretty heavy.
Mm-hmm. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. So there wasn't any dry ground. It covered the whole thing. 15 cubits. What was that, 22.5 feet? Is that about right?
Mm-hmm.
Upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. So the shallow part was 22.5 foot. Don't think I'd want to dog paddle 6 months on that, would you?
No.
And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both fowl and the cattle, and of the beast, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in dry land, died. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle and creeping things and fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And I was looking at this, how do you be saved? How was anything saved? By following God's plan. And how is anybody's soul saved today? By following God's plan through Christ. So this was through Noah to be saved in the flesh. Now how do you be saved in the spirit? Through Christ. So, and the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Well, that ain't quite 6 months, right? Right at it. Now let's look at Matthew 24, starting at 29. Matthew 24. Starting at 29. About run past it again. Tell you what, I'm having weird issues this morning keeping up with my stuff. See, in Matthew 24:29, Jesus is speaking. And he's telling, sharing his wisdom and knowledge with folks. And he says, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear a sign, the Son of Man, in the heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Well, why am I bringing this up? Well, the world, that's going to be coming to the next time the earth's going to get destroyed. And it's going to be done a different way. But this time, Christ is coming back to save those of his own. And he shall send, look at this, verse 31, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. God knows how to save his. Sometimes his have trouble trying to know how to be saved. We want to argue about it. We want to say, well, God, do I really want to do that? A lot of folks want to find different ways to try to be saved other than Christ. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is nigh. So likewise, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all these things be fulfilled. It wasn't talking about that one generation of people. It was talking about the race of people. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. Now, a lot of people are trying to twist God's word and twist the words of Christ and make them be things they're not. But they're going to stand. The original is always going to be what he said. And there's always going to be a remnant holding out the true words of God. There was a big thing, probably 100 years ago, where they were trying to eliminate the Textus Receptus, which was the one passed down through the church, and saying this one that was put on the shelf was the right one, even though it didn't say the right things. And they were trying to make it more credible than the ones that were passed down through the church. Well, all that's been disproven. So the ones that were passed down through the church are the correct ones. The Westcott and Horts of the world that were trying to bring down the deity of Christ have all been proven wrong. Yes. For of that day and hour, check this out, knoweth no man, not the angels of heaven, but the Father only. So anybody that tries to tell you that they took a slide rule and a supercomputer and all of the stuff in the text and decided they know exactly when Christ is coming back, they're a liar. Because nobody knew when God was going to rain and flood the world except for Noah, and he didn't tell him exactly when until he said it's going to be 7 days. Then he knew. And anybody, no man knoweth the day and the hour. So if somebody tells you they know and they've got it figured out, they're lying to you. And anything that they believe that sets a clock where you can start ticking it down and know when the day and the hour is, they're lying to you. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. And that's the way it's going to be when Christ comes back. People are going to just be partying on and having themselves a good time and a good wave. And then it's going to hit. Christ, you're going to hear that trumpet sound. And knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall the becoming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, and one shall be taken, and the other left. 2 women shall be grinding at the mill, and one shall be taken, and the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. You don't know. So you got to be ready. How do you be ready? Put your faith, trust, and hope in Him and quit worrying about it. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh. When you least expect it, expect it. Okay? How does that fit in with Noah? He was telling everybody to be ready. Nobody listened. Now, we read a lot of other things where it tells folks, be ready. Put your faith in Christ. And like, we don't believe none of that. We don't believe there's no creator. We don't believe anything. That's the problem. People need to test spirits and see what spirits they be before they believe them. There's lying spirits all throughout this world. There's lying people to tell you they don't believe just because it makes them feel like they fit in with a crowd that says they don't believe. I honestly believe there's nobody in the world that doesn't believe in God in some form. There's no way that anybody could be that stupid. But they want to seem like they're in control. That's why they deny God. Whenever you deny Him and you lift up your eyes in hell, remember, old country preacher told you that Jesus would keep you out of that. Put your faith, trust, and hope in Him and quit believing in yourself and quit believing in the lies of the worldly people, of the folks that want the humanist that want you to worship the human situation. Christ alone. He said so. I believe Him.